Well, I mean, come on. I'm not going to just let you resolve lethal damage against me, am I?
I don't know. Maybe.
Nope.
Oh, at least I didn't win with Infect.
You tried.
Yeah.
You sure did try.
All right. The show plan look good?
Yeah. I just skimmed over it. It looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Does Patrick approve?
Yeah, a lot of this looks like malarkey.
It's Commander Time! Welcome to Commander Time. We are yet another podcast about the Magic the Gathering format known as Commander. I'm Nate Burgess.
I'm Dean Goody.
And I'm Patrick Cipolla.
Today, we are talking about the recently, quote, revealed, unquote, Dominaria cards that were leaked to the public due to either international Chinese espionage or internal miscommunication at Wizards of the Coast. Which one? The world will never really know.
We'll ask Mr. Owl later.
Sure. Some people don't want to think or hear about this stuff until the set is officially released. Well, other people do want to hear about it now, so if you don't want to hear it, you can stop listening to us after we talk about our upcoming giveaway. Then, once the set is released in the future, you can come back and listen to the rest of this episode and tell us how wrong we were.
We were so wrong.
But first, a booster pack giveaway.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
As we start looking away from the Ixalan block toward the future, I have a few leftover booster packs that will be given away to one lucky listener. The winner must be within the United States so that our postage costs aren't extremely discouraging to us making future giveaways. 3 Ixalan packs and 3 Rivals of Ixalan packs will go to one person. All of them will go to one person, chosen randomly, from among our patrons and those listeners who both follow us on Twitter and retweet the announcement for this episode. Shout out to one of our fine patrons of the week, Robin Koss.
Thanks, Robin.
That guy writes stuff.
Yeah, he does.
What's your top card?
Who wants to introduce this next segment?
All right, coming up on Whose Line Is It Anyway? We're going to be playing top legendary creature cards of Masters 25.
Hey, this just released Masters set.
Where the cards are made up and the points don't matter.
Like Magic in general?
No, just like Masters 25 and Iconic Masters in particular.
What's your guys' top legendary creature? Dean.
I went with Vendilion Click. Just always liked the card. It's probably not particularly good as a commander unless you're playing maybe CEDH, but it's cool.
I mean, even I actually didn't even realize it was a legendary creature until right before the show started. When I was like reading over the list, and I was just going, "Well, that shouldn't be there," and then it says legendary on there all of a sudden, and then I'm like, "It's not that." Not going to be great in EDH.
Yeah, it's 3 multicolored characters on a single card.
Yeah.
Red, blue, and green.
Wait, what?
Yeah, how can a click be a one legendary creature?
Well, how could Firesong and Sunspeaker be a single legendary creature?
Or I suppose K and T.
Yes, or wait,
but
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
An entire click.
Stop, there's a game. You're ruining the game.
So, Patrick, what's your top legendary creature that is in Masters 25 and is not one of the other characters that you named?
I'm gonna go with Animar, Soul of Elements.
Okay.
Yeah. Just strong.
You can't really go wrong with Animar, Soul of Elements.
Yeah, if you throw a Cloudstone Curio or an Ancestral Statue in there or both, then he gets a lot of counters.
And you could always play Mighty Morphin Power Animar.
Yeah, which is the kind of default powered down version of Animar.
Yeah, he does have protection from black and from white. which a lot of people forget about until crucial moments.
It is a problem.
Turns out a lot of targeted removal is in black and white.
Turns out Athreos is in black and white.
Aha.
Imagine my sadness.
I can taste it. My top pick, the one I use in the most decks, I think, is Azusa Lost But Seeking.
She's very good.
She's also a pretty decent commander by herself.
Yeah, if you're doing crazy land stuff, she's not bad.
There's just something about, playing her on, turn 3, is it?
Yep, turn 3.
Sure.
Why are you playing her on turn 3? You're in mono green.
Okay, so turn 2.
Turn 2, yep.
And then playing 2 more lands from your hand. And then playing, I don't know, Rampant Growth after that.
Sure.
And then you have 100 mana.
Yep.
I mean, if my math is right.
Oh, yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah, it checks out.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah, because you play that enchantment where all of your forests tap for a GG.
Mm-hmm. Or just, it's nice to have lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like having me some lands.
Nice.
All right, the main topic. If you don't want to hear about Dominaria stuff, then stop listening now.
Right now.
The main topic.
Okay, overall impressions of the set. I'll go first. I think there are a lot of legendary creatures, but I think there are few commanders and many sidekicks. And what I mean by that is, are you excited to build a deck around a particular legendary creature, or are you excited to put it in the 99 for someone else as a sidekick? Like Mavrin Fane Dusk Apostle. He's a sidekick for Elenda the Dusk Rose, and depending on how you feel about Elenda, she might be considered a sidekick for Edgar Markov.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. That being said, I'm more excited about the mechanics in the set than I am about the specific creatures. Historic sounds pretty phenomenal to play with. And there's just so many good value legendary creatures in there that really make for a fun set that we're going to be mining for time immemorial, much like Future Sight, I think.
How do you feel about legendary sorceries, Patrick?
They're weird, and I don't know until I play them, is basically how I feel about them.
They're awesome, Patrick. They're awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do get to be more powerful because they're conditional, but
that's true.
They're still weird. I want to see the full set spoiled. I want to see what the common version of a legendary spell is.
Do you think that we'll get them at common?
No.
Uncommon, possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Nate, I don't know. I think that there are some cards in here that are quote-unquote sidekicks. I would have been excited if some of them... I know Mara has said that they'll never do this in a standard set, but it would have been pretty cool to see some of the sidekicks have partner.
Yeah, partner's pretty risky. Just adding a single commander with partner means you have to test, 15 more decks.
Well, they wouldn't have to test it for standard. They could just let it go in EDH.
Yeah.
They could.
I don't really see them doing that in any kind of standard. They're not a huge fan of just printing mechanics that don't fit the theme of their set.
No, I know. So, I'm well aware, and it's just something that they'll never do, and I'll have to get over it. Not in standard anyway. They may do it in another commander product.
Yeah, I can see it happening in a commander product, but not in like a meant to be draft set.
Here's a question: do you think that they would ever print a standard, a legendary card that was originally released in standard in a commander set partner? It's only functional errata for EDH. It wouldn't actually affect it in any other format.
No.
Nah.
I mean, as exciting as that would be, Wizards is pretty straightforward and conservative about how they actually print their cards.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I just really, really wanted to have, half of a ghostly prison be my commander with a sort of a Sun Titan.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yep, that'd be pretty cool.
And, speaking of more things, Firesong and Sunspeaker.
Yeah, that's a card there's been a lot of noise about this card lately. It's a 4 red and white legendary creature, but it's actually 2 creatures on a single card. Minotaur Clerics, 4/6, 4 power, 6 toughness. Red instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Firesong and Sunspeaker deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So there's already some articles about this card. Jason Alt has an article up about some finance stuff. Bruce Richard has built a brew around it. We got some links in the show notes. So there's 2 characters on a single card, like Hall & Oates or Simon and Garfunkel, or 6 other legendary creature cards. Pop quiz, what are they?
Pia and Kieran Nalaar.
Just 2 or more?
No, all 6 of them. Oh, just 2 on the card,
Pia
yes.
and Kieran Nalaar.
Okay, and then we've got Tibur and Lumia.
K and T.
Yes, Kineas.
Kineos and Tiro of Miletus, yes.
Yep.
Mina and Den.
Mina and Den Wildborn, yes.
3
more.
It's Gisela and Geralf.
Jeezy and Jerry.
Yeah, them.
Let's see, walking back.
2 more.
Ben and Jerry.
No.
Yeah.
That's ice cream.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
You got Tibur and Lumia on that list, Nate?
Tibor and Lumia. And 1 more.
Are you counting Stang?
I am not counting Stang.
What about the brothers Yamaza?
Nope. They gotta be all in the same card.
What, are we gonna count Vendilion Click?
That's 3 characters in the same card.
Yeah, that's 3 characters.
Okay. It's so not Triad of Fates. Because they're 3.
Yep. No, not them.
All
right, Nate, give us a hint. Is it monocolored?
It is not monocolored.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm trying to think.
Is it Brazella?
No.
They're on 2 cards most of the time.
And it's not monocolored, Patrick, so there's that.
Yeah, it is.
No. The one that we're missing is not monocolored. It is...
Oh, yeah.
All right. 5,
Yeah,
4,
I think I got it.
3, 2, 1. The last one is Anax and Cymede.
Yes. I've woken up my child. I'll be right back.
So this 2 people on 1 card thing is relatively new.
Well, it's just not as common as a single legendary creature on a single legendary card.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. It just is kind of weird to call 2 people 1 legendary creature. They don't even do the fusion dance.
Hey, you don't know that. It's just a still frame in the picture.
That's true.
Brewing around this character, do you think it's too linear?
I think it's boring.
You don't like burn decks?
No, I do like burn decks. I just think 6 mana is a lot to ask for this guy for a... this is like the reverse burn deck that I kind of want to make, where you turn all life gain spells into hurdy spells, but it's not great. It's nothing to like write home about and tell your mom and dad that you fell in love, and you can't stop me from marrying Firesong and Sunspeaker.
Yeah, no, polygamous marriage.
Yeah, I mean, Mom, I can date a Minotaur Cleric 2/3 and another 2/3 Minotaur Cleric if I want to. So, stop getting in my way. That's all I'm saying. But yeah,
Mom.
Yeah, I just don't think it's super exciting. Somebody might just need to prove me wrong on this.
Are we talking about the cost or moving on to the next part? I was going to say the two other cards that do a similar thing cost 2 and 3 mana respectively.
Yeah.
There's Taminoa from Ice Age costs Naya, and Soulfire Grandmaster costs 1 and a blue.
1 and a white.
1 and a white. Yes, 1 and a white. That's right.
Activated ability is red. Blue.
Yeah, hybrid red blue. Yep, for 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to it's not very good.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
I don't really care if they keep doing these promo buy a box things if the commanders are all kind of this sluggish and not very interesting. So
okay. So if it's something you don't want, you don't mind if it's harder to get.
Yeah.
I believe people shouted at Maro on his Tumblr a lot, though, and they're not going to ever do it again. He posted about it. He said it was extremely unpopular before it even really came out.
All right. Well, this next character is... I have a few things to say about this next character. I think it is one of the commander-worthy cards in the set, and its name is Muldrotha the Gravetide. No, that's not it. It's Muldrotha Forgemaster. No, that's not it. It's Special Agent Fox Mulder of the Gravetide.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's the one.
It's 3 black, green, blue. Legendary creature. Elemental avatar. 6/6. It doesn't have any combat abilities, but during each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. And that's on your turns only, so Flash or Vidalcan Orrery does not enable graveyard casting on other players' turns.
It's Kess in Sultai.
For only permanent types. So, yeah, not quite.
Well,
Kess.
I mean...
Yeah, Kess does Grixis instants and sorceries from the graveyard. This character does everything else. If you just told me it was a Sultai Carador Ghost Chieftain, I would already be sold. But this does more than creatures. But even so, if you have a...
Yeah, it's also Crucible.
Yeah, if you have a Marin of Clan Neltoth deck and you wanted to add some blue, or a Giza and Geralf deck and you wanted to add green, or a Scarab God deck and you wanted to add green, then you could probably just upgrade your deck by putting this character as your commander. And you can cast Spore Frog every turn if you want.
That's what I was trying to do with Teshar. With the white Spore Frog.
Yeah, with your Cameo also. Mm-hmm. If you have a Silas Wren Seeker Adept artifact recursion deck and you want to add some green, then go ahead. You got, stuff like Navineral's Disc, or all the baubles and spell bombs and capsules. And it also works on lands, so if you have a fetch land in your graveyard, you could play that every turn forever. Or you could play a strip mine or a wasteland every turn. Now, keep in mind, those 5 cards I just mentioned, and I'm just talking about the on-color fetches of Polluted Delta, Verdant Catacombs, and
Misty
Rainforest. I mean, just those cards by themselves are $150. So maybe you want some Evolving Wilds and a Terramorphic Expanse and a Ghost Quarter or stuff like that.
Field of Ruin.
Myriad Landscape.
Field of Ruin seems great because you keep the land, right? You fetch a new one and blow something up.
Field of Ruins, that'd be...
Yeah. So if you have a nice Gitrog monster deck and you want to add some blue, then you might consider upgrading that way. Self-sacrificing enchantments, you can cast those from your graveyard. Stuff like Pernicious Deed, or the Planar Chase Seal of Primordium, or Removal. These all, you pay some mana and you sacrifice them, and it does something good for you. Or Shadows over Innistrad has some Vessel enchantments of Malignity, Nascency, and Paramnesia.
Ooh.
And they all do weird stuff with either drawing cards or exiling cards or putting cards in your graveyard.
Vessel of Nascency would be fantastic in Muldrotha.
Does it? Doesn't the green one ramp you? No, that's a font. That's the font.
Yeah, Vessel of Nascency looks at the top 4 cards, I think, and you can put like a creature, a planeswalker, or a land in your hand, something like that.
Yeah. So it's like turbo scrying and drawing.
Right. And then the rest go to your graveyard, so you get to replay them with Muldrotha.
Yeah.
And trigger Delirium.
Oh, it's even better.
Yeah.
You look at the top 4 cards of your you reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and then you may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker card from among them into your hand and put the rest into your graveyard.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have some cheap planeswalkers that have decent minus abilities, you can just play a planeswalker, burn it out, and then cast it again from your graveyard. It's a permanent.
Oh, no.
So you could Ashiok Nightmare Weaver. You know, even if that dies, you can cast it again for 3 mana and exile 3 cards.
Oh no, is this another Planeswalker commander?
I don't think so. I don't think there are enough good and cheap Planeswalkers in these colors.
Yeah, but you get to recast them. You get to rebuy them.
Yeah. Kiora the Crashing Wave. She has a minus ability. She costs 4 mana. And she has 2 loyalty. Her -1 ability is draw a card, and you may play an extra land on your turn. So you cast that, you draw a card, play an extra land, and then on the next turn you can do it twice, because you minus her, she has no loyalty, goes to the graveyard, and you recast her again, and do it again.
It's gross.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah, anything that fills your graveyard and gets you more cards, because your graveyard is a second hand for this legend. So stuff like Windfall, anything with looting that have you both draw and discard a card. Cycling is okay. As long as you're both discarding and drawing, then that card will be effective in this deck. Mass discard doesn't hurt you as much, so you can do pseudo Leovold type stuff. There was recent game nights where Breath Stealer's Crypt was featured. It's an enchantment, I think 2 blue and a black. And whenever a player would draw a card, they reveal the card, and if it's a creature, they get to pay 3 life or put it in their graveyard. And if I'm putting things in my graveyard, maybe I don't want to pay the 3 life and I'll cast it anyway. Mass milling doesn't hurt you as much. So stuff like Mesmeric Orb can suddenly put 20 cards in your graveyard, and then you get to pick 5 of them that you like and cast them all. If you're doing this, you need specific graveyard exile that doesn't wipe your own graveyard. So stuff like Leyline of the Void, Bojuka Bog. Nile Spellbomb is one of those artifacts that sacrifices himself and you can cast it again. Tormod's Crypt costs 0 and it sacrifices itself.
And you can recast it.
And then do it to somebody else. Agent of Erebos is a zombie with Constellation, and whenever you cast it or an enchantment, then you wipe someone's graveyard, target player. And it's an enchantment creature, so when you're looking for types of permanents that you can cast, he could fill either slot. The Scarab God likes to fill graveyards and pick creatures out of them. Deathrite Shaman and Mere Welder is this. I probably wouldn't play him, but he's like a miniature mecha Mercil the Pretender. Just for flavor.
Crypt Incursion is an instant for 2 and a black. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. Probably not something you're going to play, because it's not a permanent.
Yeah, if it's not a permanent, then you probably don't want it in this deck. Any self-sacrificing permanents are going to be maybe more useful. So stuff with an echo cost, you don't have to pay the echo cost. You just cast it again. Stuff with evoke, you can throw it in the graveyard for its evoke cost. Caustic Caterpillar is costs a single green. You can pay 1 in a green and sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment, and then cast it from your graveyard and do it again. Siren Storm Tamer costs a single blue, and you can pay a blue and sacrifice it to counter a spell or ability that targets a creature of yours. Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner. They sacrifice themselves if you do it right. And Navineral's Disc. Sure, throw that in there. Anything with a cumulative upkeep. Hey, maybe you don't want to pay that anymore, and it's cheaper to cast the original spell, like Mystic Remora. It costs a blue, or it costs 1. And if you don't want to pay the 2, when it gets to 2, you just let it die and cast it for blue. Mystic Remora forever for a single mana.
Nate, I really like what you're building here.
Are you picking up what he's laying down, Patrick?
Yeah, I can pick up what he's laying down, and in fact, I'm going to just take this deck from you.
You can take a copy of it, but I'll still be playing my own. The deck, you're probably going to be low on instants and sorceries. Try to find some permanent that does a similar effect to the spell you want, and use that instead. But I'm still going to play Villainous Wealth.
Well, yeah.
Do you find that it's best to diversify your permanent types so that you can cast the most number of things from the graveyard each turn?
I do, a little bit. My current build, I'm still at 30 creatures, but my enchantments, I have more enchantments and planeswalkers than I usually do in most decks. I'll put it that way.
That makes sense. I mean, it occurs to me that you could go all in on one type and just make the deck like Carador for artifacts or something like that, but...
Yeah, but then you're not getting your value.
Exactly.
I want to be able to cast 5 different things from my graveyard. So I am looking for cards that have a cheaper mana cost so I can cast more of them. And I have a deck list. I'll put it in the show notes.
Sounds good.
And who are you featuring, Dean?
So I built Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. It's a legendary creature bird cleric for 3 and a white. It is a 2/2. It has flying. And it has the text, whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. So that's any artifact.
Any artifact.
Any legend. Any artifact, yes. Any legend that you cast, so no legendary lands. And any saga, even if it's bad. It's kind of like having a Bishop of Rebirth as your commander.
That sounds pretty sweet. I didn't even realize it was a bird.
Yeah, I mean, if that matters, it doesn't matter.
It does.
I mean, the flying is nice.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen the art yet. So.
I mean, Duretti is a bird wizard. This is almost Duretti because he's a bird cleric.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of like that. I feel like I built this deck kind of the way I built Jazal Goldmane.
So you're in mono white, and what's the mono white tricks you're using?
Yeah, so I went with anthems to boost the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus for creatures that are also anthems, even if they don't cost 3. So like Angel of Jubilation and Angel of Invention both give all of your other creatures +1/+1. And then apart from that, I ran some redundancy with stuff like Custody, Soulcaller, and Sun Titan, and Bishop of Rebirth, just to get incidental return on stuff. And I built in some spell shapers, actually, so I could get some of the cheap creatures into my graveyard. So I've got stuff like Cho Aram Alchemist. It's a 1/1 for 1. You can pay 1 white, tap, and discard a card from your hand. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage, and you gain that much life instead. So weird little tricks like that. And then to go wide, I put in stuff like Mavrin Fane Dusk Apostle and what's the other one here that I have? Sandstep Outcast. Stuff that costs 3 or less, and when it comes into play or it attacks, it makes a token. So I can get a wider team off of Teshar.
Alright. How many artifacts and legendaries, and how many historic cards are in your deck?
Okay, I will give you I'll give you those numbers separately. I've got 12 artifacts. A couple of them are historic, or a couple of them are legendary on top of that, like Spear of Heliod and Sword of the Animist. And then I didn't build any sagas into the deck because there's only like 2 spoiled right now that I didn't think I wanted to put in the deck. Then I've got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 legendary creatures, 1 legendary enchantment, 2 planeswalkers, which will also trigger it. So that's 17, 18. And then I also have 2 artifact creatures, 32 historic permanents.
Yowza. That's a bunch.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent density of historic types.
Yeah, the only thing that I felt really pulled me in a couple of directions was making sure I had enough creatures that cost 3 or less. I don't know. I've got let me pull this up on deck stats real quick, actually. Okay, I've got 20 creatures that cost 3 mana, and 7 that cost 2, and 7 that cost 1. So that's actually pretty good.
Do you think that this is going to be the de facto best white weenie commander now?
No, I don't think it'll be the best white weenie commander. I think you've got some competition there with like Oketra and Heliod. I'm not sure that the recursion is necessarily important.
Does make you more resilient, though.
Yes, I do think it makes you more resilient because it allows you to recover from board wipes a little bit quicker. But you always had that with Sun Titan and then Custody Soulcaller and then Bishop of Rebirth. Like White has just slowly been getting better and better at reanimating things. This just lets you make sure that through your commander everything is super duper resilient.
Yeah, I really like this. It's mono white reanimator is an interesting archetype.
Well, it's interesting now, but I think it's going to become a thing. I don't know if it'll be the de facto weenie strategy per se, but I do think it will be an archetype. The one card that really made the deck feel like I was playing Jazal was Leonin Sunstandard, which is an artifact for 2.
Oh, the Leotard.
Yes, the Leotard of Doom.
When I first saw it, I misread it as Leotard.
Same thing. You could pay. It's got an activated ability of 1 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So you get You don't
have to tap it. You can just keep putting mana into it.
Right. You get 10 creatures out. You swing out. No blocks. Okay, I'll sink 6 mana into this. All of my creatures get +3/+3. And you can use it defensively if you need to.
Yeah, that card was problematic for me.
Mm-hmm. And it's so cheap to cast. And it reanimates something when you cast it.
I wonder how many cheap ETB creatures there are in White.
There are a fair number. I didn't include all of them. But and like Nate, I also was trying to go for the Kamiya False Hope. Yeah, Kamiya False Hope is the white Spore Frog, so if you can get Kamiya False Hope out and you can keep a couple of cards in your hand that will trigger Teshar with a historic spell, you can just keep on fogging every time someone attacks you. So a lot like Muldrotha, those self-sacrificing creatures are really great. Hope of Girapur.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty fun. Stuff like that.
Did you look at any spell bombs or anything?
I didn't. There's only 2 that I could run. One of them gains you 5 life, and one of them makes a 1/1 mirror, I think. I did put in Loyal Retainers. That card is kind of awesome. It's 2 and a white for a 1/1 human advisor, and you can sacrifice it to return a legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Okay, so I was doing more of what you're already doing.
Yes, but it's self-sacrificial, so you can get back something that you already lost and then reanimate it again with Teshar, or you can get Teshar back without having to cast him. You can get around commander tax that way.
Huh. Okay. So, I don't know. I first saw this commander. I thought it was maybe a sidekick for Alicia who smiles at death, but you made a strong deck out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, really did.
Thank you.
All right. Patrick, who's your favorite secret commander here?
So, as longtime listeners may know, I have a Relentless Rats deck.
What?
And I have been in the process of foiling it out Fortunately, I haven't actually gotten to the Relentless Rats to this, because once Dominaria hits, I don't think I'm going to have a Relentless Rats deck anymore. I'm going to have a Rat Colony deck. So, Rat Colony, for those who don't know, is 1 in a black for a rat. And it reads, Rat Colony gets +1/+0 for each other rat you control. A deck can have any number of cards named Rat Colony.
And that's any rat, not just Relentless Rats or Rat Colonies.
Yeah, so you can actually go Rat Tribal, like officially, and get the huge front pump. No butt pump here. It's all front pump.
That's how you like it, huh?
We all love a good butt pump. Patrick.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So the Relentless Rats only cared about other Relentless Rats.
Yeah, which really made you, go all in on Relentless Rats if you wanted to build like a proper Relentless Rats deck. Which is, I might keep my Relentless Rats and maybe shift that into a Dimir color for a Phoenix deck. So that
okay.
So we'll see what ends up happening, but I basically refactored my Marin Relentless Rats deck into a Rat Colony deck, and basically I came up with 4 reasons why Colony Rats is better than Relentless Rats. The first reason is Skull Clamp.
Oh, okay.
Just equip to any of your rats now, and they die, and you draw 2 cards, you get a Mirren trigger, and then you can bring it back. Sounds great.
Did you have Skull Clamp in the Relentless Rats version?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't even die when there's just one of them on there. And all the other rats that I would have would be too big.
Yeah.
In general. So it just kind of would just eat up a spot. That could be another rat instead, or just about anything, and be a little bit more proactive.
Mm-hmm.
The second reason is that there's only 1 black mana required to cast this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You have no idea how warping double black can be when your entire deck is basically 3 drops. Like my Relentless Rats Marin deck was essentially mono black splash green, and getting that 1 green was always really tough. But with only 1 black pip there, I can actually just cast green spells like normal people do.
Like we Shadowrun Apostle players do.
Yeah. Heathens. Now, the third reason is related to the 1 black pip, is that Colony Rats is only 2 CMC, which is game changer for a couple of reasons. One, Aether Vial, I don't have to wait 3 turns to get up to charge counters on Aether Vial, and I also don't have to wait until 3 experience counters for Marin. I have to wait till 2, which is infinitely easier to get to, because you can just keep attacking for 2, and you don't exactly run out of creatures that easily. It also makes just dumping your hand way easier. At 6 mana, you dump 3 rat colonies instead of 2 Relentless Rats. So it also just shifts the entire deck to be even more aggro than it was before. And finally, it counts literally every single rat. So I get to put in some of my favorite non-Relentless Rats back in that aren't just like utility holder. Like, I never took out Nezumi Grave Robber because that's graveyard hate and just an awesome card. But I got to put back Crypt Rats. Oh, it's Pestilence on a rat.
Mm-hmm.
That is just awesome. Especially when you give your rats Death Touch.
That's pretty good. Though you are going to wipe all of your rats, aren't you?
With
rats?
With Ogre Slumlord.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun. But then so not only do you get to count other rats, but like your ogre slumlord. Whenever something dies, I get a rat, and then it pumps my board. And hey, I'm into that. And it also makes Marrow-Gnawer like huge. Sack a rat. Create X11 black rat creature tokens, where X is the number of rats I control. I'm going wide here. I can go wider than I could ever go before, and taller. Just not any in the butt area.
Yeah, you did that as a combat trick. You used Marrow-Gnawer to sacrifice one of your rat colonies after the attack, and then you just made a bunch more rats by doing that, which pumped all the rat colonies right before damage.
Yeah, that was scary.
Right. Yeah, it also makes pack rat even better. I mean, there's like, I mean, the one way that they could have made me happier with rat colony is if they just reprinted pack rat with the you can have any number of pack rats. But considering how busted pack rat was in standard at the time, I don't think they'll ever reprint it. So,
that is a true shame.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the 4 reasons why you should love Rat Colony, and why you can have any number of this creature in your deck is probably the best mechanic that has ever been created.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes deck building easier.
Actually, it makes it a little tougher.
It makes it really hard.
No.
It makes it really tough. because your deck, it like, I have 20 of one thing. I need to find as many modal other things as I possibly can.
It really squeezes your other slots. And you have to try to figure out what the optimal density is of that particular card. Yeah. It sounds easy, but it's really not.
It's interesting, and being able to go down to 2 mana for it really actually makes me feel better about my choice in land numbers. Instead of having to get to 3. Getting stuck on 2 mana with Relentless Rats is one of the worst feelings I've ever had.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And it happens almost every week.
All right. Those are the first 3 cards that we focused on out of the set. Do we want to go more into some of these? I think some of these are, they need a closer look. I haven't looked too closely at them, but I just have general impressions.
Sure. What did you pull up, Nate? What did you like?
Okay, so there's Demon Lord Belzenlock.
This guy.
It's, I don't have the numbers up here. But he's a legendary creature. He's got flying and trample. He's a 6/6 legendary creature, Elder Demon. Is that right?
I believe that's correct. I'm going to pull it up right now, but I'm pretty sure he's a 6/6 for 6 Elder Demon. Yep.
Elder Demon. So you can still play EDH with Demon Lord Belzenlock. And when this guy enters the battlefield, you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Then you put that card in your hand. If the card's converted mana cost is 4 or greater, repeat this process. Demon Lord Belzenlock deals 1 damage to you for each card put into your hand this way. So, is this bad nauseum or totally rad nauseum?
It's probably totally rad nauseum, because you don't lose life equal to the CMC of the card that you get. That being said, I'm really not sure how I would want to build this deck. It seems like the curve would be insanely high.
Well, you're in mono black.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Why do you care about curve?
Well, I mean, okay, what do you have? You've got Nykthos, you've got Cabal Coffers, you've got Cryptghast, you've got Narcana Revenant, you've got Liliana of the Dark Realms. Those are 5 cards.
Expedition Map.
Sure. And yeah, okay, and Demonic Tutor.
And Soul Ring, and then any number, like, you're in mono black, you don't care.
Sure, I mean, black's ramp is explosive, but it's not as reliable as green's ramp. It's a little bit more fragile. If your pieces get removed, you're not really going to have that mana. Whereas, in green, you're just slowly accruing value and just pumping out lands and pumping out lands. So I don't know. I have prove me wrong, Patrick. This is you get Demon Lord Bells Unlocked for our next playtest.
Okay.
All right.
I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is, this one's kind of weird. Torgar, Famine Incarnate. 6 black legendary creature avatar, 7/6. And when this thing enters the battlefield, up to one target player's life total becomes half their starting life total, rounded down. That's your starting life total, not the current life total. So it puts their life at 20 if you're playing regular commander. If their life is lower than 20, then they gain life up to 20. So maybe you want to throw in a Tainted Remedy or a False Cure or stuff like that. Strionic Resonator and Panharmonicon. You can hit 2 players, set their life totals to 20. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I mean, what were you thinking about playing him in, Nate?
Maybe in Rakdos, Lord of Riots. And that's because, well, Torgar also has an ability where you can sacrifice creatures to reduce the mana cost of Torgar. But in Rakdos, Lord of Riots, you're probably just casting him for black at some point anyway. And if you've already done enough damage that you can just cast him for black, you probably don't need much more.
Yeah.
You're also open to damage doublers at that point.
It's not damage. It just sets the life total.
Yeah, this doesn't actually do damage.
Well, yeah, you're right. You need to do life loss doublers.
You would need Wound Reflection.
Yeah. Oh, man. Combo this with Mind Crank.
Yeah, sure. You could do that. So now Torgar is actually not a demon, but I was thinking about putting Torgar into Shadowborn Apostles just because of that cost reduction mechanic. You can sacrifice any number of creatures as an additional cost to cast him, and he costs 2 less to cast for each creature sacrificed this way. So if you really wanted to, you could sack your whole board of creatures, even if it's 30 creatures. You could sack all 30 to Torgar. And if you've got a Blood Artist in play, then, that's a whole lot of life that somebody's going to lose. But I don't know, I'm not sure. It would have to be drawn into, but it is something I'm vaguely toying with. Mainly because Demon of Death's Gate has a similar ability where you can sacrifice creatures to cast it and make it cheaper. And it's been really good in Athreos. So, I don't know.
All right. This next one, I like it. It's an artifact called Damping Sphere. It only costs 2. And if any land on any player's table, if a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it doesn't produce 2 or more mana. It produces a single colorless instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn, so it makes Storm decks kind of not work anymore. And, yeah, this turns off a lot of things. And if I'm not doing those things, then I'll turn them off.
This shuts off every single version of Food Chain Combo.
Sweet.
Very quickly.
Yeah, that's so good. I really like it. You can run this with Inspiring Statuary so it becomes a mana rock, too.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this card's gonna start showing up in competitive decks when the set comes out.
Hopefully, the top 6 decks aren't all Food Chain decks anymore. Okay, they're not, but still.
I'm going to play it in my non-competitive decks.
Okay, do we want to talk about Saga Enchantments?
Yeah. And I want to see more of them before I form an opinion.
I do really like Phyrexian Scriptures, though.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Did you not see Phyrexian Scriptures? Nate, you saw Phyrexian Scriptures, right?
No. But I hadn't seen this creature.
Oh.
Whisper, Blood Liturgist.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this one.
It's really good. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of seems sidekick to me. I don't know.
You could run it as your mono black Shadowborn Apostle Commander, though. Mono black clerics.
Sacrifice 2 of them, bring 1 back.
Sacrifice 2 of them, bring back your Runescar Demon.
No, just... Well, why do you have a Runescar Demon in your Shadowborn Apostle deck? This doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, I'm dumb. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll just take that right out.
Yeah. I mean, did you learn nothing from my Mirren Rats deck? All you need is more rats.
Okay, so I'll play 98 Apostles, Whisper, and 1 Swamp. Sound good?
Yeah.
It's gonna be some tough mulligans.
No, I'll just declare that I'm gonna mulligan until I hit a swamp, and I'll just search for the swamp and have 1 card in my opening hand.
You do that.
Except for you can mulligan to 0.
No, I wouldn't do that. Wait, you can't mulligan to 0, can you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
Why not?
I thought you always got 1 card back.
No, people just stop at 1.
I'm gonna use
specifically
Google to
dredge players. Dredge players in Vintage stop at 1.
Hold on. Oh. Wait, what? Note that if a player's hand size reaches 0 cards, that player must keep that hand. Then, beginning with the starting player and proceeding in turn order, any player whose opening hand has fewer cards than his or her starting hand may scry 1. Wow, okay. I am wrong.
Yeah. You can go right to 0.
That's pretty bad.
You can be hell-bent on turn 0.
That seems so good.
Okay. Thank you, Dean, for actually looking up the rules on whether you can mulligan to 0.
For all the times that's going to be relevant.
Let's talk about our last games.
Mm-hmm.
Play the music, Nate.
Our last game. All right. Which games do we want to talk about?
The one with Zitalpa, that had my first draft of Mirren Rat Colony. Not a very good version of it. Second version, much better. So I don't mind skipping that one.
Yeah, we can skip that. Nate and I played some games because Patrick slept, I think, or I forget.
I've been very sleepy.
Patrick was a sleepy boy. So Nate and I
Coding is hard.
Nate and I had 3 games where it was just Nate versus me, and
there were 4 games. There were 2 of the Ashling versus Muldrotha games.
Yes, that's right. I also built a Muldrotha deck, which actually happened to feature Rat Colony. It was not very good against Ashling the Pilgrim.
Yeah, Ashling still got it.
Yeah, surprisingly, Ashling, being able to deal damage to rats that have a base toughness of 1, that's bad for the rats.
Dean, you pulled out you've been refining your Teshar build, and it's not bad.
Yeah. So I played Teshar versus your Riku deck, and I don't remember the...
Yeah, that was where you first showed me the leotard.
Yeah, in both of these games. I don't remember the exact specifics of what happened, but Leonin Sunstandard was the linchpin of my success, when I reached a certain number of creatures and was able to swing all of them at Nate and pump a bunch of mana into them and make them giant little weenies.
Yeah, we played another game where I played Nath of the Gilt Leaf so that I could have some of my own anthems and fight back, but Dean had more anthems.
White seems to be pretty good at anthems. It's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of elves that'll help each other get bigger, but White just has a bunch of straight-up enchantments and artifacts that'll pump the whole team.
Pew, pew. Yeah, actually, the Sun Standard was great in combat, not just for the anthem effect. I mean, really, it's more of a combat trick. That's how I used it, because I was able to block and also have you block and then pump and have my creatures survive the combat, which was pretty nice. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised this card doesn't see play in decks. I've never seen it played in any deck before, but I feel like it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That's Leonin Sun Standard. Then we played some more games with the three of us. I've been tuning my Muldrotha deck, and Dean's playing more of his Teshar. Patrick, what were you doing?
I was playing my Marin Colony deck. Instead of Marin Rats, it's Marin Colony. Otherwise, there's not really a way to distinguish them.
And how did it do, Patrick?
Easily. It did well. I was very dumb and kept a one-lander, but still won.
I was trying to set up my Kamiya False Hope loop, but Nate, as he does, exiled a bunch of my cards, my graveyard specifically.
Yep.
And then Patrick was able to use his rats, which had fear to destroy me.
Yeah.
And he gave us a rat colonoscopy.
My favorite part of that game was when, during Nate's upkeep, when he thought he was going to be able to cast a whole bunch of really annoying things, like an Ashiok, and try to exile more of my rats out, I just exiled all the key nice things that he could get out of his graveyard with Nezumi Grave Robber.
Yeah, so nice.
Oh, yeah. Took all your mana to do it, though.
I didn't have anything else to do.
We played another game where Patrick had a Galta Primal Hunter deck. Don't remember much of what happened.
Galta came out early.
Apparently,
and then
you won? I thought Galta won.
Galta looked like he was going to win, but then I had to go to a speed interview.
Yes, Galta scooped for the interview.
Oh, yeah. And I had just cast a Villainous Wealth, and I was going to get some Galta creatures, but instead I got some Teshar creatures.
Yes. And you used them against me to great effect.
Woo!
I gotta say, getting a 12/12 out on like turn 4 or 5 is really satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising.
I've actually decided to build Galta as my mono green commander. I have not had a mono green deck ever, and it's like the last deck I need for the Chromatic Challenge.
Yeah.
One of the last 2 decks I need. So I've decided to go Galta. Just big, dumb, stompy.
Yeah, big, dumb, stompy that makes himself cheaper just by continuing to be big and dumb and stompy, which makes you feel smart.
Yeah, green should stick with what it knows.
What do you think is the difference between a Galta deck and a Selvala Heart of the Wild deck?
Well, Selvala Heart of the Wild's deck is an unfair combo deck. And Galta Primal Hunger is a big, dumb, stompy deck.
Okay, so you could probably take the same deck and just switch between competitive and casual by switching the commander there.
Yeah, that's probably.
That seems about right.
Throw Selvala into the 99.
Huh. I like it.
All right.
The Pets Update.
Pets update. Do you guys have anything? I have something.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it, Nate.
Okay, my smallest cat was apparently bitten by a radioactive spider because the other day I saw her crawling horizontally along the vertical surface of the couch. She didn't have a paw, like, bracing herself on the arm. She was just going horizontally on the fabric. Turned the corner around to the front of the couch. And, yeah, she's horizontally moving across vertical surfaces.
She's like a gecko.
Are you sure she wasn't bitten by a radioactive Linda Blair?
No, she's pretty chill.
No head spinning?
No, she does vomit every once in a while, but cats do that.
That's true.
Cats do that.
It's their way of showing you that they care.
Or showing you the inside of their stomach.
See this stuff? Look what I ate.
It was good then.
Might still be good.
Nope. No, cats don't eat their own stuff like dogs do.
Yeah, that's all dogs.
Or not that I've witnessed anyway. Maybe they do it when I'm not looking.
Yeah, they're just embarrassed.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Guys, can you believe they're reprinting Skizik?
I guess so.
Skizik.
3 in a red for creature elemental 5/3 with trample haste. That's a 4-mana 5/3 with haste. It's ridiculous.
That is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, it just makes me excited because my first Magic deck had like 2 of these in there. It was not very good.
So ridiculous as in worthy of ridicule.
Ridiculous in that it's making me nostalgic.
Okay, that works too. All right, I'm hitting stop.
Okay.
Visit us at patreon.com/commandertime.
You can find me on Twitter at Grubfellow.
At Detective Yarmouth.
At Mr. Plorg.
What's the best way to not have a real dry-sounding mouth for this?
To not do what?
Not have your mouth sound really dry.
What?
Your voice, I guess. I don't know, my mouth feels really dry, and I feel like I'm, mumbling over and jumbling my words up.
Smoke less meth?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Why do you have to shit on my parade?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I could quit whenever I want.